Hey everyone, welcome to my channel. If you're new here, welcome back to my channel. If you're a returning viewer or subscriber, I think it is about time for another book haul, so that is what today's video will be. I think we have one audiobook and then a bunch of ebooks and physical books to get through today. I'm pretty sure there's about 10 of these in total. We span from the end of December through to some point in the middle of February. So the first book that I picked up was The Final Empire by Sanderson. This is the first book in the Mistborn series. You have to excuse my terminology because I don't really know anything about the series at all, other than that Sanderson is a very prolific fantasy writer and people are obsessed with his Cosmere. Is that correct? This is the first book. This is the book where you're meant to kind of begin. But I think we're following a young girl. I think the general idea about this series, it's like what if the bad guys had won. So you start the book at the point where there's like an evil person on the throne or ruling the land, and then you see that kind of like get tipped on its head as it goes. It's meant to have a really interesting magic system, and I picked this up on Audible because at the end of 2024, at the end of 2023 I had Audible credits to use up. I love fantasy but haven't really delved into like adult epic fantasy, and it does slightly terrify me, so I feel like listening to this book on audio might kind of help me to realize that this book is not actually that scary. I'm sure it's not actually as scary as I think, but I still think the audiobook route will help to like kind of cement that within my mind, and then maybe I will pick the book up physically or pick the sequels up physically as well, or maybe I'll buy them on audiobook too. I'm really excited to see what the series is about. I've heard pretty much nothing but good things about it over the years. It's kind of ridiculous that, you know, I've been kind of in the book world for so long. I've been in the book world for so long as an adult, and I'm yet to pick up a Brando Sando. On ebook I bought Happy Place by Emily Henry. This is Emily Henry's fourth book. I'm reading her books in chronological order, I mean publication order. So I've read Beach Read, You and Me on Vacation, and Book Lovers. Just finished Book Lovers last month. I've had very mixed results with Emily Henry's books in the past, so I think Happy Place could be the deciding read for me in terms of whether I want to pick up any more of her work beyond this one, because I'm kind of hesitant to continue with her books just because I don't think they're for me. Every other element other than the quality of her writing kind of lets me down a little bit. I believe in Happy Place, it's a little bit of a kind of second chance romance. You're following two people whose names I do not remember, don't even try to ask me. They're part of a big friendship group and they've broken up, but they don't want to tell their friends that they've broken up because they want this trip to be like all the other ones that they've gone on with their friends. So they kind of fake date, having just gone through a breakup. It's meant to be very, very emotional. I know a lot of people kind of connect personally to this one, and it's also meant to be quite different from Emily Henry's other work. So I'm interested to see which side I stand on. This is a bit of a kind of divisive book. People either seem to love it or they seem to really dislike it. Even some of Emily Henry's stans are not as much of a fan of this one. The Works have just come out with a really, really cute edition of this book that has sprayed edges, so I will definitely be getting that if I enjoy the book on my Kindle, but for now I have the ebook to go with. Okay, first physical book. I'm so excited for this one. I picked this one up the very end of December. Oh no, maybe it was the very beginning of January. I think it was the very beginning of January. The Serpent and the Wings of Night by Carissa broadbent. The first part in a series of series, like companion series. Each little series within the overarching series is made up of a duology. So this is the first book in a duology. Right now you can get the first two books, this entire duology, as well as a little novella, and then we're waiting on the next duology that's on its way. I originally wanted this in paperback, but it was traditionally published and they came out with this incredible new release hardcover that actually has this really fun design under the dust jacket on the naked hardcover. There's also a quote under here as well. And the reason why I splurged on this was because every single year Waterstones do a sale where they go half price on hardcovers. This was £22, so I only paid £11 for this book, which is brilliant for a new release hardcover, especially one that I've heard so many good things about and I'm expecting to love. I believe we're following vampires and there's like some sort of competition element. I feel like I'm reading so many fantasy books at the moment that have competition elements, because I read Powerless and I've also read Throne of Glass, and obviously I'm familiar with the Hunger Games and whatever. She's the human daughter of the Nightborn Vampire King. She enters this competition, but she thinks that if she enters the competition she won't stand a chance, so she teams up with this guy, or is he like mentoring her or something? He's the love interest. He's called Rain. I don't know anything about this book basically. I am told that it is quite like brutal and bloody, so dark in that way, but also has a really good romance subplot because it's kind of a romantasy. Human or vampire, the rules of survival are the same. Never trust, never yield, and always, always guard your heart. I'm very, very excited to pick this one up soon. I actually plan on reading it in May. I'm going to be buddy reading it. Next up I bought Love Theoretically by Ali Hazelwood. This will be my first Ali Hazelwood. I haven't read any of her books. She writes kind of romance books that are set in like a STEM world. So the main female lead is working in STEM. I think the first one was based on an Adam Driver fanfic, and I know people made fun of that one a little bit, but actually I've heard that she's a very, very good writer, and I think that having read Paula so recently, most of my issues with that were because of the writing and various things that played into that. And I feel like reading that and having such a terrible experience with that has kind of highlighted to me how important good writing is. So if the writing is just bad, then I can't do it. Lots of contemporary romance books have poor writing, but I'm told, like I said, that Ali Hazelwood's books are really well written. So I'm excited to see how I find this first title. I don't actually know what it's about. Maybe I'll have a look at a description of this book. Follows a theoretical physicist, Elsie, as she navigates her hectic life that's filled with being a professor teaching thermodynamics and offering her services as a fake girlfriend to her favourite client, Greg, who happens to be the brother of well-known and cold-hearted experimental physicist Jack Smith-Turner, that Elsie just so happens to hate. It's a hate to love with brother's best friend? No, best friend's brother? I think it's best friend's brother. I don't know to be honest. I've just heard very good things about her writing and I'm excited to see how I find her books. I might dislike it, but I will be glad to have given it a go, and it only was 99p in the Kindle sale. I also picked up The Virgin Suicides on Kindle. This is a book that I really wanted to get physically. I read one review, I don't know, it just talked about the book in a way that made me not interested in it, in a way that it might like upset me a little bit, so I decided to put off picking up a physical copy. But when I saw it again, 99p on the Kindle, I decided that that was an offer that was too good to refuse. So I have it sitting on my Kindle for whenever I want to give it a go. Again, I might dislike it, but I'm glad to have, you know, a little copy available if I so wish to read it. This obviously was adapted into the Sofia Coppola film that people absolutely seem to adore, but the book itself is actually a modern classic, and I think we're following these sisters, the Lisbon sisters, is that correct? Are growing up in a suburban neighborhood. One by one, they take their own lives in different ways and I think different reasons and things like that. But instead of focusing on the girls, you actually take a step back and you view this horrific, tragic family event through the eyes of the boys who live in the neighborhood. I'm really not sure, but I've heard that it's a very, very well written book. It also has quite a beautiful writing style, and I've just heard all around that it's a very, very good story, so I'm excited to see what I think with that one as well. I have been wanting to read Frankenstein for many years now, but I've been particularly wanting to read it over the past kind of 3 or 4 years, and I'm just yet to find my perfect dream copy. I really don't like the kind of widely available versions. There are lots of different options obviously, but I feel like I don't like any single one. When I was in TK Maxx, I saw that they had this beautiful, beautiful copy here. This is by Harper Muse. So it is a painting that actually spans to the other side, and it is kind of like textured and raised. I'm not sure whether you can tell. You feel like you're holding the painting, which is incredible. So it's just like that on the cover with the castle and the lightning storm, and on the back it says, "The world was to me a secret which I desired to divine." That's quite a hard sentence to say. And it also has incredibly beautiful, what is this called? Gilded gold edges? They're those shiny gold edges. Inside is also lovely, lovely end papers, and then also the layout of the book is beautiful. And it has these kind of like quote pages dotted in between at various points. All in all, a stunning copy. I was in TK Maxx and there was no price tag on this, and obviously it would be discounted in there, so I decided to take it down to the till and ask the worker how much they were selling this book for. Turned out that she didn't know, so she disappeared off and she just came back with like a children's pencil case, scanned the children's pencil case, and then gave me the book for the price of that. So I think I paid like £7. £7. Probably costs nearer to £30. I feel so lucky to have this. I think this is just beautiful. I was aware of this edition, but I didn't think of ever buying it for myself just because of the price tag mostly. Lucky to own this, and those circumstances are just crazy. Frankenstein creating his monster, you know the story, everybody knows it I feel. But the writing is meant to be incredible, so beautiful. I'm sure it will have some breathtaking quotes. I'm so excited to read this. It's only a short classic. It was a really, really innovative piece of writing at the time. I really admire Mary Shelley, so I'm excited to read her most famous piece of work. In the charity shop, I found a copy of A Court of Thorns and Roses by Sarah J. Maas. I'm so excited to have this. I do indeed already own this book in the old paperback, but I'm so obsessed with the series. It's one of my, it is my favorite. It's my favorite fantasy series of all time, and I read those books before I started annotating. I really want to do a full reread of the series. On the reread, I want to annotate the books thoroughly with all my thoughts and all my love towards the series, because like I said, I absolutely adore it. It's like a part of my personality at this point. But I don't want to touch those copies because A, they're, you know, they're valuable because they're out of print, and B, they're my first copies, and I don't know, there's something, I just want to keep them the way they are. Like I dog-eared pages with my favorite scenes on and things like that, and I love the way that they are right now, so I really wanted to buy another set of the series in order to annotate. They're widely available. They're obviously discounted in lots of places, but they're never like discounted very much because it's such a widely popular series. So finding this in the charity shop, I paid £2.49. I'm not sure where I'm going to find the rest of the series, maybe on eBay or something like that, but this one was in practically perfect condition, no cracked spine, bit of a mark up here. Don't really care because, like I said, I'm just owning these copies to annotate. Currently I'm reading the Throne of Glass series, so I don't really plan on rereading Akatar anytime soon. As soon as I'm done with that, I'll try and jump in. I also hated these covers when they first came out. If you were here back in the day when the cover change happened, I feel like 99.9% of people didn't like these covers, but they really won me over, and I love how bright the whole series looks next to each other on the bookshelf. I bought Indigo Ridge by Devney Perry. This is a kind of twist of genres between a mystery and a romance book. I read this in January, I believe, and I reviewed it in my January wrap up, so I'll have that linked, so I won't go into massive depth. But we're following this girl who moves into a small town. She becomes the chief of police, and I think she has a one-night stand with this guy who is part of this family who are kind of the center of the town. I believe they were like the founding members of the town, you know, like generations and generations back. One day a body shows up, and so our main character is having to solve the murder, but it also starts kind of linking in with her love interest's family, and things get a bit complicated there. It's a very fun book. It kind of always kept me entertained. I think I gave it 3 stars overall, but I still would recommend the series if you want something kind of quick and entertaining. I also bought Mr. Wrong Number, which is another book I've already read. I read that in February, I think. I love this. I gave it 4 stars. Really fun contemporary romance book. Lynn Painter writes lovely stories. They're always just like light-hearted and a good time. Very funny. This had me laughing out loud, like one of the funniest books I've ever read. We're following a girl called Liv, and one day she receives a text from a number. The guy who sent her the text sent it to her by accident, and instead of the conversation ending there, they start this kind of banterous, flirtatious exchange of texts. What Liv doesn't know, and what this guy doesn't know, is that the guy she's texting is her brother's best friend, and Liv has actually just moved into the apartment that her brother is living in and sharing with his best friend. So they're actually living in like close quarters with each other. It creates quite a messy circumstance, but it's a lot of fun. I really enjoyed my time with that, and I'm really excited to buy myself a physical copy. I definitely plan on doing that soon. And then the final book we have in this haul is another physical one, Done and Dusted by Lyla. This is the first book in a series of interconnected standalones. I believe there's going to be 3, but I could be wrong, there could be more than that, but we've got 3 for sure. The second book just came out, and the third book they just announced the title for, and the cover as well. The reason why I was kind of interested in this is because I'm currently reading the Chestnut Springs series, which starts with Flawless, and then I'm in the middle of Heartless, the second book. That's a 5-book cowboy romance series. I love the first book, and then the second book I'm really enjoying as well, and this series is meant to be very similar to that one. This is actually a gift. I'm thinking that I might not read it until I've finished the entirety of Chestnut Springs, because I feel like the vibes are going to be too similar to be reading them interspersed. I feel like this one might feel like it's like part of that series if I read it in the middle of reading that one, if that makes any sense. Maybe I'm wrong, because I feel like Elsie Silver, who wrote Chestnut Springs, has quite a distinct writing style. But either way, I'm excited to see how I find this. I feel like it's gonna be a fun time because the person who gave it to me loved it. We have kind of similar reading taste in some ways. So we're following Clementine Ryder. She's left her small hometown, went to college, made a career for herself by doing her favorite thing, riding horses, but after an accident it makes it impossible for her to get back into the saddle. She has no choice but to return to the hometown she always wanted to escape. She meets Luke Brooks, the town's most notorious bad boy, bar owner and bachelor. Wow. He's also the unofficial 5th member of the Ryder family. As Clementine's older brother's best friend, Luke spent most of his childhood antagonizing her. Not enemies to lovers, what's it called? Frenemies. Frenemies to lovers. Brother's best friend. I'm excited. This cover is also really cute. I like it a lot. I do not like the cover of book 2. Book 3 is alright, but book 1 I really like. So that's it. Those are the 10 books that I wanted to share with you in today's video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you want to let me know that you did, you can give this video a thumbs up. Subscribe if you'd like to stick around, if you like my vibe and you want to see more of my content and see me get to more of these books in the future. I post videos every single Wednesday and every single Saturday, so I'll see you in a couple of days for another video. Bye bye.